Hi students, this lesson is on the distributive property. So what exactly is the distributive property? It's another way to solve a problem, and you can even think of using mental math, but breaking a problem apart to solve it. So if we look at here, our bullet point, it says to multiply 3 times 68 mentally, you can think of this as 3, and then in the parentheses here we have 60 plus 8. So how can we solve this a little easier? Well, notice they did 3 times 60. They distributed 3 times 60. And then they distributed plus the 3 times 8. Oops, 3 times 8. So 3 times 60 is 180. Plus 3 times 8 is 24. And when you add those together, you get 204. So this would be an example of breaking apart a situation and using the distributive property. So in this section, we're going to be looking at different examples working with the distributive property. So example 1 says, look at the following examples below. Show how you would use the distributive property to solve. So for A, we have 2 outside the parentheses, in the parentheses x plus 5. What I'm going to do is what we say is distribute 2 to the x, meaning we multiply 2 times x, and then we distribute 2 to the 5. So we look at this as 2 times x plus 2 times 5. And when we simplify this down more, this is going to end up being 2x plus, well, 2 times 5 is 10. And that would be my final answer. Next one, notice my value is outside of the parentheses at the end. That will not make a difference when you're solving this. You just distribute the x to each situation inside the parentheses. So the way we look at this is x times x minus, now you always put the value first, so minus 4 times x. So how can we simplify this for our final answer? Well, x times x is x squared minus 4x, and that would be my answer. For C, very similarly, 8's now at the end, so in parentheses we have 1 plus 2x, and then outside the parentheses times 8. So distribute 8 to 1, 8 to 2x, so that's going to be, you can look at this as 1 times 8 plus 8 times 2x, and simplify this down more would be 8 plus 16x. Answer. Last one, we have y times, in the parentheses, 1 minus y. So we would distribute y to 1, distribute y to negative y. When we distribute, we're multiplying. Here we have 1 times y minus y times y. And when we simplify this down, it's going to be, well, 1y would just be y, minus y times y is y squared. And that would be my final answer. So that's how we use and work with the distributive property. Our next set of example here, we're still using the distributive property, but then we're going to combine like terms at the end where we combine like situations. So here we have for A, 3t, and in the parentheses t minus 5 plus 6t squared. We first need to distribute this 3t to each situation in the parentheses. So we have 3t times t minus 3t times 5 plus 6t squared. Let's simplify this down further. 3t times t is going to be 3t to the second minus, now we're going to multiply 3 and 5, so that's 15t, so minus 15t plus my 6t squared. Now we're going to find like terms. Well, what are like terms? Like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. So for instance, our 3t squared and our 6t squared are like terms because they both have a t squared. So what we're going to do is add 3 and 6 to get 9t squared. And then this minus 15t, yes, it has t, but it does not have an exponent of 2. So we leave that alone and just write it down the way it is. And this would be my final answer, 9t squared minus 15t. Let's practice one more example here. For b, we have 1 minus 4, and in the parentheses 1 minus 2x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, now you can think of this as a minus 4 because there is a minus in front of the 4, so think of this as negative 4 times 1 and negative 4 times negative 2x. Let's bring down the 1, and then negative 4 times 1, that's going to give me a negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 2x. Well, negative times negative is positive, so that's going to be a positive 8, because 4 times 2 is 8, and then we have 1x. So 1 minus 4 plus 8x. Well, where do we have like situations? It's going to be the 1 and the 4, the number that stands alone there. So 1 and 4, the minus 4 are like terms. So what is 1 minus 4? Well, that's negative 3. We cannot combine that 8x with anything else because there's no other situation there that has just an x, so we just add 8x, and this will be my final answer. And that is it for this presentation.